All right. Giddy up. Think they call that a winning streak. Oh, boy. Kool-Aid's flowing. The Knicks win in Charlotte, 121-102, in a score that is really not indicative of this game. This was for a large stretch of the game, a very clunky offensive performance from the Knicks, but at the same time, I would go so far as to say at times a fairly dominant defensive performance from them. For as much as they were playing a undermanned Hornet team, we'll talk about that aspect of it. But Knicks win the game, and in doing so, here we are, back at mid, back at 500. There's only one way that I could think of to start this, and it's just to point out how utterly absurd sports is sometimes. I was sitting in front of this laptop in a different location, but in front of the same laptop, less than a week ago, 6 days ago. And I was out, all the way out on this team. And a lot of people were out on them too after, what had been a really choppy, to put it politely, start to the season. Went out west, kind of righted the ship, and then some close losses, and then boom, just big fat fart noise against the Dallas Mavericks at home in a performance that I said at the time it was a performance that felt like it's the sort of performance that gets a coach fired. That's how bad it felt in the second half there. And I think we were all kind of wondering, would this be it? What would happen if Donovan Mitchell comes into the Garden and drops, 40-something points? And he didn't do that. And since then, I literally cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is the most satisfying, the most enjoyable, the most it's the best feeling overall I've had watching this team since the We Here season. Because for the first time since that season, you could sense there is an identity being formed. And look, this is now 3 straight games where an opposing team has shot just atrociously against the Knicks. And I don't care that Terry Rozier made some threes in the fourth quarter. The Hornets couldn't hit the far side of a barn. This was still a game. And again, like I said after the Cavs game, and like I said after the last game, yes, some of that has to do with New York's defense. I think maybe a lot of it has to do with New York defense. At the same time, like sometimes teams get hot. They have not seen a team get hot. Far from it over the last 3 games that they have played against Cleveland, Atlanta, and the Hornets. And, and that's been helpful. At the same time, it is pretty clear that after there was a lot of, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul and, half measures and compromises and this, that, and the other thing, forget through the first, 23 games of the season, but really going back to last year, something changed where I don't know if it was Tibbs. I don't know if it was Tibbs in the front office together. Your guess is as good as mine, where it seems like they were like, look, if we're going down, the ship's going down. We're going to go down our way. And the most symbolic moment of tonight was when the Hornets in the fourth quarter, I don't know how many minutes were left, 6-7 minutes, something like that in the fourth quarter. And they were looking a little frisky on offense. I mean, the lead was still whatever it was, 20 or 21 points. And what does Tibbs do? He puts McBride back in the fucking game after he had taken him out a few minutes earlier, alongside Brunson, so super small backcourt, and with Grimes then playing the 3. Because it seemed like Tibbs was saying at that point, you know what? I'm done fucking around. And it felt like a manager of a baseball team putting in their closer, putting Deuce in that spot. And I think that is so symbolic, for me at least, of the fact that this team is finally trying to go in on an identity. Is it a perfect identity? No, it is not. But you know what? For this team, since really the end of the We Here season, perfect has been the enemy of the good. And there's been a lot of bad as a result of it. And I wrote about that today for my newsletter. I murdered the front office in today's newsletter because I'm like, look, there was an approach to take when you took over this franchise, and you didn't take it. And as a result, now you're having conversations about a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, which like should not be happening. Under no circumstances should that be happening. You draft that guy, and then under 3 years later, you're talking trade with him. That being said, and they deserve all the blame in the world for the fact that that is a situation, and we'll see what happens with Quickly moving forward. That being said, finally, what people have been asking for, and I'm not going to put myself in with these people because I've hemmed and hawed, and I've tried to play both sides of the fence, and that's a bad job by me. But there have been a lot of people that have been asking since day one, just play the freaking young players. And tonight, who did we watch? Well, let's go through the 9-man rotation real quick. RJ Barrett, Quentin Grimes, Jericho Sims, Deuce McBride, Emmanuel Quickly. So 5 of the 9 players on their rookie contract. RJ Barrett still on his rookie contract. Mitchell Robinson, homegrown talent. I mean, I still kind of consider him one of the kids. So that's 6. And then Hartenstein, Jalen Brunson, and Julius Randle. And look, I will open up to the super chats in a minute after I say a couple other specifics about tonight's game. But like, there is still going to be people who are going to be out on this team, on this coach, God knows, on this front office for a variety of reasons. And look, that's fine and that's fair. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of it, some of it, most of it, whatever, is going to be surrounding Cam Reddish, who, you know, Fred Katz came on the pod today, or we recorded it last night, and we both agreed, like, the most obvious move by far, put Cam Reddish back in the rotation after the OB injury. And yet, we talked about it, and by the end of that conversation we had on the pod, I agreed with him, which was like, no, there's no way Cam Reddish is setting foot on this floor. And barring some crazy injury situation, is never going to play another minute for the Knicks again. And that, again, is because it seems like they're like, fuck it. We're going to go with the guys that we're going to go with, that we feel good with. And we're going to stop worrying about building up trade value and what could we get from this asset? And, we got to keep playing Fournier. He's making too much money. And Derrick Rose, it's Tibbs' guy. And although, if you ask me, if I had to guess, the Deuce thing, I would guess that's Tibbs, but I don't know that. He just, like, can there be a more Tibbsy player than Deuce McBride? I don't know. And I'm sure it's hard for Tibbs to sit Derrick Rose, but he's doing what's right for the team. Just like right now, like, going all in on this identity. And here's the thing. And look, people are going to be like, well, how could you say that? Cam Reddish was good defensively this year, the whole thing. They are playing right now like a team that gives a shit. Every minute, not a little bit, not like, they're going to give a shit for 5 minutes and then they're not going to give a shit and then they're going to kind of give a shit again and then they're going to just completely stop giving a shit, like we saw in the Mavs game and the Hawks game and like so many other games. The first Hawks game. No. 48 minutes, they give a shit now. And I think you have to have guys that are all in, and they're playing guys that I think are all in. Even Julius Randle, man, and that's a good transition. I'm not going to go deep into all of like the guys tonight because it'll come up on the super chats. But like, because like pretty much everybody played well tonight. Julius Randle out there, like, he didn't have a great offensive. He got into his bag a little bit too much after he was getting into his bag early. Finished 9 for 22. Probably forced. There were a handful of possessions where he was commandeering it a little bit too much for my liking after he started feeling it early. But like, he ended up with 33 points on 22 shots. He was killing it, getting to the line. Only had the 1 turnover. Like, you can't complain about that. And he's trying. It seemed like he was trying on defense. Like, yes, there were those same 2 or 3 possessions we see every game where he doesn't get out to the corner. But like, we saw a nice effort, and we've seen a nice effort now from him for the most part, I think, for a few games. RJ started off horrendously tonight. Beautiful bounce back. I'm still worried about his defense. I still don't love what we're seeing on that end of the court, but like, if he could start to find it, because I still don't really think he's found it yet. If he could start to find it, talk about a fun team all of a sudden. Frisky team that other teams are not going to really want to play, which is not something we've been able to say, again, since the We Here season. So take it for what it's worth. It's a bad Hornets team. They're 7-19, although I will say, and this is the final thing I'll say before I'll get to the Super Chats, the Hornets' last 7 games, there was one complete evisceration at the hand of the Celtics in there in Boston. Other than that, beat Philly, beat Minnesota, beat Washington, lost to Milwaukee by 9, lost the Clippers by 2, and then fought Brooklyn tooth and nail down the stretch. Came way back into a game that they were completely out of in Brooklyn. Ended up losing that game by 6. Like, they've been feisty, and they were feisty tonight. And like, give them credit. Like, the Knicks tried to blow this game open in the second quarter. The Knicks tried to blow this game open in the third quarter, and the Hornets kept fighting back. And like, they deserve credit for that. Well-coached team, but too much Knicks tonight, which is, again, not something I thought I'd be sitting here saying a week ago. But here we are. Wouldn't you know it? Sports is funny, man. All right. On that note, let us get to the rest of our program. First, a reminder from our good friends. I hope everybody put some dollars on the good old Knickerbockers tonight. At WynnBet, download the WynnBet app or visit www.wynnbet.com to start winning. That's WYNNBET.com. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100, win $100. Download, bet, win. I will go through the betting and sweating picks from the pregame show in a little while. But for right now, let's get to the Super Chats. I'm sure there's going to be some commentary. Starting with Daniel Constant. What's going on, Daniel? Thanks for the contribution. If we get the 30 from 2 years ago, so Julius Randle, Barrett improves like he does each year. Really nice effort from him tonight after a brutal start to this game for RJ Barrett. Terrible turnover. Just Kelly Oubre Jr. took the ball from him, and there was a not great moment. His first basket, ironically enough, was an uncontested dunk that like the rim kind of blocked him. Like, not a good start. Finished the game great, even though he missed his last several. I don't care. He was great in the middle, and that's what matters to me. Anyway, and Brunson starts playing at a high level again. What is this team ceiling as is? Well, first of all, I don't think we're going to see this team as is. I think they're going to make a trade. I've been very clear about who I hope is not in that trade, but I think they're going to make a trade. Their ceiling as is, and by the way, it's funny we're saying Brunson starts playing at a high level again. He's had 2 bad games in a row. He spoiled us all, but 2 bad games in a row for Brunson. What is their ceiling as is? I mean, if they play like this, and they're really like, this is a top 10 defense for sure that we're watching. Might be a top 7 or 8 defense. They've been, and the rating may change a little bit, but I checked earlier before I had Fred on the pod, and over the previous 12 games, they were like 7th in the league in defense. And I think that'll get a little bit better after tonight. So if that's the defense, and I think it can be the defense, I'm confident in the defense now with these guys in there. Grimes, Deuce, IQ. Can they still be a top 15 offense, 16 offense, 17 offense? If you give me like a top 16, 17 offense, and if you give me like a top 7, 8 defense, I mean, that's I can't believe I'm saying this. That's a team that's going to fight for a playoff spot, not a play-in spot, a playoff spot. So like in that 6-7 range in the East. Now, I think the East is going to get tougher. I think there's some teams that have been struggling in the East. I would not bet any money on them to make the playoffs. But if you're asking me what the ceiling is, sure. I'll say like 6-7, like that. I think that's the ceiling. Good question to start us off, by the way, Daniel. I like that one. Danny K, solid game. Kids were flying around on defense. More Quentin Grimes, Deuce, and quick minutes together, please. Hashtag enjoy the wins. I love that. I'm going to try to enjoy all these wins because, like, you know it's not going to last. There's going to be losses, and we're going to be hemming and hawing and the whole thing. So the wins are nice. Love when those three guys get on the floor together, Grimes, Quickly, and Deuce, man. What a freaking treat. Even when only two of them are out there, it just, the mentality, it picks up everybody around them, you know? So great job by them. And yeah, I'm excited. I loved it. Good stuff, Danny. Thanks for the comment and the contribution. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. No Fournier, Rose, or I think you mean Reddish there. Have we seen the last of them in a Knicks uniform? Hashtag 53 wins. My inclination is to say yes. You've seen the last of Fournier, Rose, and Grimes. As part of the rotation. Are there injuries that could take place where one of them gets back in? Yeah, sure. Like, God forbid, I don't even want to say it out loud, but like, let's say, I won't make it bad. Let's say Deuce like sprained his ankle mildly and like had to miss a game. I would imagine Derrick Rose would play in that game, like, and not Ryan Arcidiacono, although Arcidiacono is out right now. That would be my guess. So, like, is there an injury that could happen? And, like, you could easily say, like, well, there was an injury to Obi Toppin. An injury happened, and Cam didn't get in. I had a funny feeling maybe it's just matchup dependent because the Hornets are kind of a big team. I had a funny feeling he was going to go with Hart and Sims together. Those two on the floor at the same time, I mean, they're going to be a much better rebounding team. I think on the offensive glass, they're going to be a pain in the ass for teams to deal with, to box both of those guys out, because Hardenstein's an excellent offensive rebounder and Sims is coming along. Hardenstein clearly is comfortable spacing the floor, and at the very least, if you're a defense, you have to pay attention to him 16, 18 feet from the hoop. I think they'll get more used to playing with each other on offense. And defensively, like, Sims could fucking move, man. That dude's a brick shit house on wheels. He is. So I don't like, forgive me for saying this, I don't think they're going to lose that much on defense with those two guys out there at the same time. Like, is it perfect? No. Are there teams that are going to be able to exploit the hell out of it? Absolutely. I don't think they're going back to Cam. That ship sailed. So if you're in the Cam hive, I mean, I guess get ready to start watching him when he's on his next team and saying I told you so if he plays well for that team, but it's not happening here anymore. Thanks, Robert. Lunas, am I right? RJ should hit the club more. Hashtag Harden paved the way. I don't know about that. It seemed like he was still shaking off the after effects the way he started this game. But yeah, I think he played within himself. I think he was. It's funny, like, I was about to say he was more patient, and at the same time, that's not really accurate because he hit the hole hard on, when he had it going, when I think he made 8 straight field goals. But it's like, like, he's very unique player. When he has it going, he has a way about him that we as Knicks, it's hard to describe, but we as Knicks fans know it when we see it, when he's comfortable. And he was comfortable out there tonight. And again, yeah, maybe a little bit of that is the opponent, but I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good watching him. Thanks, Lunas. Robert Cross with one more. First time, long time, John. I am still aggravated by the IQ trade rumors. It has been 48 hours of aggregation for me. Hashtag 53 wins. I'll give you 3 things. Not from me. I'll steal from the pod that I just did with Fred. 1, a trade is not going to happen until it happens. So follow Fred's advice. Don't be aggravated over something that hasn't happened yet, despite the fact that I wrote an entire fucking column about it today. 2, they're not just going to give him away. And that may not cause you much solace, but I first of all, I believe Fred when he says that. I think if they do, like, whatever the deal is, if it is going to happen, and I can't sit here and say that it's definitely going to happen, you're not going to like it. A lot of people aren't going to like it, but I think objectively you're going to be able to probably look at it again if it happens and be like, okay, it's fair value. That's number 2. And then I forget number 3. Okay, so I just got 2 for you. Sorry. 2's better than nothing, though. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it. Kevin Danishevsky. We went from the wheels falling off to wondering if we're going to get a repeat of 2020-21. Hey, listen, they were 12-13. Well, no, sorry, they were 11-14, right? After 25 games in 2021. McBride, Grimes embody the spirit of that team. Absolutely. Is 2020-21 Randall back? As my wife is coughing like a lung in the other room. I hope she's okay. Shout out to my wife. She's had a brutal week. She's been under the weather all week. She's still caring for 2 kids, still doing everything that you need to do to uphold the household. I am married to Superwoman, as it were. I need to be for me to do all this crap. Is that Randall back? No, I mean, you could tell he was playing like it was 2021 again for a period of time in this game. Like, I don't want that Randall back. Like, I like the version of Randall. Like, we got some long twos tonight and love that. I like the offensive version of Randall this year more than the version of that year. I think his intensity on defense seems to be creeping back in. He's really good on offense. And like if he gives just a little bit of effort on defense like he did tonight, I mean, that's a really good freaking player. And a guy that there's going to be interest in trades. And it's the same old question. What are they going to do? They'll pick up the phone, as Fred said. What are they going to do? I don't know. As Atlanta is about to lose again to Brooklyn. That's a shame. Thanks, Kev. Good question. Robert Cross. This is for Kevin Danishevsky. RJ Barrett says hello, you traitor. Hashtag 53 wins. Look, we don't have to pit family against family, Robert. I do think the RJ Grimes conversation is an interesting one because RJ is, shall we say, runs hot and cold. Grimes is a metronome. And I know he hasn't been a metronome with his shot from the outside. I want to say I don't think he shot it well tonight. But again, it's like, I don't even care. He was 4 of 8 tonight for 11 points. So he was 1 of 4 from 3. So like, he's still not shooting it from the outside, but he had 11 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, talk about a tenacious rebounder, but he's just so freaking consistent. And the defense is just like, man, I don't have the words to describe Quentin Grimes' defense. Like, I tweeted it out in the first quarter. PJ Washington got switched onto him, or he got switched onto PJ Washington twice. And PJ Washington's a good offensive player. And PJ Washington took him into the post a couple times, just freaking got nothing. Like, he got shot attempts off, but like, they weren't great attempts, and he missed both of them. Like, Grimes just drapes himself all over you. And to have that kind of consistency on the defensive end with a little bit of positional versatility, because again, I think he plays a little bit bigger than his size. If he's going to hit shots at the other end, and we know he could do some other stuff with the ball, it's interesting. Hey, how about this? Why not both? How about both guys play well? Wouldn't that be great? Thanks, Robert. As always, first time, long time. Kevin Wilson, what's going on, Kev? They gave up over 100 points tonight. This team sucks. I think he's being facetious there. Yeah, I got to check the updated defensive rating. I've got to see. I wonder how long it'll take to get up, but I'll get it up there. Thanks for the contribution, Kev. Appreciate it. Chris Carter, what's going on, Chris? This is the first game I watched in a long time that I never worried about the Knicks losing. Kelly Oubre sucks. Go Knicks. Shots fired at Kelly Oubre catching strays. I got to tell you, I kind of feel the same way. And the reason I feel that way is what I talked about at the top, the defensive identity. And it reminded me of 2 years ago when like they would go through how many games did we watch in the We Here season? Pretty much every game where they would go through a funk offensively. And they would go through a 5 or 6 minute stretch of the game where, like, whether Randall was out or Randall didn't have it or whatever the case may be, where they just could not buy a bucket. And they would withstand those stretches consistently, to the point that this was they finished as like the 23rd or 24th ranked offense in the league. And they were 10 games over 500 because of that defense, because of that defensive consistency. Tonight, it did feel like that again. Now, it was the Hornets. I want to see how they do on Sunday night against the Kings. If they go out and they give up, what do they give up tonight? They give up 101 points tonight. If they go out and give up 100 or 102, if they go out and give up 102 to the Kings on Sunday, then we could have, and they win that game. Ooh, boy, let's have some fucking fun and let's have some conversations, because I want to see them against that team. I really do, because the Hawks are in a bad place right now. The Hornets are injured as all hell, and the Cavs just had one of those nights from outside, I think. Kings are going to bring it. That's a really good offense. So I want to see what happens then. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Busy. What's going on, Busy? I will second that being aggravated by the quickly trade rumors. The real news should be that we can get both picks from the Lakers with this Julius Randle performance. I still have the Nets game on now. The Lakers were, last I checked, kind of still in it against the Sixers, but I haven't gotten a score update on that in a while. That's an interesting one. I don't know if well, let me take a step back. The Lakers are not going to trade both picks unless they feel like they can get something where they're just going to be in the inner circle of championship contenders. And I think they're smart enough to know that Julius Randle does not put them in the inner circle of championship contenders. I think they're smart enough to know that. So you're not getting both picks. Can you get one pick? I mean, unprotected with no protections whatsoever? I don't know. I think the better question is that the deal the Knicks would do? Because presumably you'd be taking back Russ. And you'd be sending out, I would assume, Fournier as well, maybe Rose, maybe both. I don't know. I think the salaries you can make it work if you take back another small salary, whatever. Like, we don't have to talk about this because it's not going to happen. But like, it's an interesting theoretical conversation at this point, whether this Knicks regime would just completely undermine this year's team for a future asset that could be really good and like might not be anything, and it also gets them out from under Randall. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's the Randall deal they're holding out for. Again, assuming one pick, 2 picks, you got to make that deal. Thanks, Busy. Good question and comment there. Anthony Sixto, 3 down. Let's see if it could get to 7. Listen, again, this team has had two 4-game winning streaks of 4 games or more in 2+ years under Thibodeau, and 1 came last March in games that did not matter. So let's get to 4. Thoughts on him thoughts on Isaiah Hartenstein. I love the emotion and the energy he brings to the court. I am going to be consistent about this, and I hope I've been consistent about this. Isaiah Hartenstein is not a bad basketball player. He's quite a good basketball player. I don't think he's been bad this year. I think his weaknesses have been exploited this year, because of, he has weaknesses, and because of the team's weaknesses and like where they need him to be better. And I also think he hasn't been utilized properly. And some of that's on the front office who brought him in, and some of that's on the coach, obviously. Goes without saying it's on the coach. He's good though. And he fights hard, and he could do a lot of things, and he's skilled, and like, I like him. And I felt bad saying like, maybe we move on from him. Oh, now I got the Lakers game on. Oh, so they're down by 6 with a minute left to go. See what happens. Yeah, like again, if it's for whatever it is, 7, 8 minutes a game, I'll see where this Hartenstein Sims thing goes. Thanks for the contribution, Anthony. Appreciate it. Robert Cross with another one. John is for the legend. This is for, excuse me, I can't read. This is for the legend of GMAC or that kid. Can we get a Fuddy Holiday special pod with John? We'll make that happen. I don't know if Footernick is watching right now. If he is watching, have your people talk to my people. It's been way too long. And I like, the thing is, I love getting Fuddy on when things are good. Because I love talking to Fuddy about a team that's fun. Because I love the energy he brings and the emotion he brings. So we'll get that. We'll make sure that happens. They can review favorite Chinese food. Hashtag 53 wins. I'm happy to talk about anything with Fuddy. Whatever he wants to talk about. I love Chinese food. I'd go for some Chinese food right now. Greg Film Stuff. What's going on, Greg Film Stuff? Thanks for the contribution, man. Best game from RJ this season. Whoa. Maybe. None. I mean, again, really rough start, but like in the middle there, he really had it going. You might be right. I would have to go back and look. I do not need him to be a superstar. If he can get comfortable enough with the game, with his game, where he can play make and score on a consistent level, I'm content. Give me 25 and 5. So I can't believe it took me this long to bring this up. Someone asked me about it or brought it up on Twitter the other day, and I looked it up, and I was looking in the NBA.com's database. If the starting lineup, Grimes, Mitch, Julius, and Brunson, had played any minutes, those four, with Quickly in place of RJ. And I looked on the NBA's stats page, and I didn't see any minutes. And I must have missed something because I double-checked on Cleaning the Glass tonight, and I saw that they had played 19 possessions together, which is about, 8 minutes. So I must have missed that. My bad. My point in bringing it up is like I do wonder if I'd like RJ even more playing more extended minutes with the second unit. And I understand you're missing some offense there, right? But something about that is very interesting to me. And I guess I thought of it more because, like, I've always been intrigued by the idea of Quickly with the other starters, just because I think he's a more consistent shooter. I think he's a better defensive player. And your comment made me think of it also because, like, we don't need RJ to be a superstar, right? So if you don't need that player to be a superstar, that guy in your starting lineup, because Brunson and Randall are doing most of the heavy lifting for you. And granted, here's the thing. They needed RJ to do a lot of the heavy lifting tonight because Brunson didn't have it. And like you couldn't, and Randall was kind of getting a little, it started to slow down and be a little stodgy with him. So like, I don't know. I agree with you though. I agree with you. Like just RJ, be consistent. That's all. Be consistent. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it, man. Joe Dugan, more promising and fun, the Grimes Deuce backcourt or the developing iHeart RJ two-man chemistry? Tibbs playing the kids, yes. Grimes and Deuce, for sure. We've seen this with RJ before. RJ has a great chemistry with Mitch. He's had a great chemistry with Mitch since his rookie year. He's always hit Mitch for lobs, and I think there's no reason why he shouldn't do the same with Hartenstein. Different sorts of players. I could see him having certain advantages with Mitch, having certain advantages with Hartenstein. But Deuce and Grimes, man. I tweeted it out the other day, and I don't allow myself to get in my feel with the feels too much anymore. I try to stay more grounded now in my old age as I'm pushing 40. Not a kid anymore. But like watching Deuce and Grimes these last few games And now tonight, I couldn't help but think to myself, man, is this like one of those things where we're going to be reading, a Zach Lowe article, of course, me, drink, a couple years from now, and the Knicks are good. All of a sudden, the Knicks are good. And it's like it all started, like the culture reset started when they went to these two guys in the backcourt and just turned the keys over and was like, this is what our identity is going to be. We are going to give you, however many minutes a game it is of absolute fucking hell in the backcourt. And between that and Mitchell Robinson is the backstop, because I don't think Mitchell Robinson's going anywhere. That's a good defense. What did Mitchell Robinson just tweet? Oh my God, I'm afraid. So taps count as shot attempts, but not rebounds. Oh, of course he's looking at his stats. What a funny guy. It's like I was actually Home Alone the other day. Kevin's dad at the end of the movie when he says he went shopping. He's like, "What a funny guy." Mitchell Robinson, you're like the Kevin McAllister of the Knicks. What a funny guy. Anyway. Yeah. I love Deuce and Grimes. How could you not? Anthony Strano, what's going on, Anthony? It just can't be a coincidence when Grimes started getting major minutes, the 3-point defense improved. I would have to go back and look it up. Do you mean Deuce? Because Grimes has been in the starting lineup. I think this was his 10th or 11th game in the starting lineup. So they've had some not great defensive performances, but I think between him and Deuce and Quickly, I think that makes a big difference. So, yeah. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it. I'm still waiting for the defensive stats to update because I really want to see this. Where they're at since that OKC game in particular. Varun Jain, what's going on, man? It's great to see you. Wait, hold on. Before I read this comment, I think I may have my updated. Yes, I have my updated stats. So the Knicks for the season now are up to 15th in net rating. They finally have a positive net rating for the first time in seemingly forever. They are 13th in offense on the season and 17th in defense on the season in the last 13 games. So since that Oklahoma City disaster at home, the Knicks are now, holy shit, the Knicks are 6th in defense. Last 13 games since that OKC game. I was looking down and I was like, where are they? I'm like, oh my God, yeah. They've moved ahead of the Warriors. That's awesome. Again, this is a team that we've a lot of complaints about since that, even on the West Coast swing, and they played in Phoenix, in Golden State. Obviously, they got lambasted by Dallas. I'm probably forgetting some other performance where the defense was not good. The Portland game was not good defense. 6th in defense since that OKC disaster on that Sunday at home. That's good. That's real. And I do think that's Grimes, because that's right around when Grimes, I might be off by a game or two, but like I do think that's Grimes. Varun, could the Mavs game be the Knicks turnaround moment the way it was for the Celtics last year after RJ's game-winning shot? I mean, you have to think something clicked, right? Don't you? I think something clicked. Because like, I think the thing that it was, and like maybe it was like Brunson saying after the game, like it's on us. We just got to try harder. It's like the coach is going to get the blame, but it's on us. We have to go out and execute. We have to go out and like give a shit. And they have given a shit. I think it was something more than that. I really do think there was something in the organization where they were like, we're and again, I don't know if it's Tibbs or the front office or both of them or neither. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there was a decision like we're gonna If we're going down, we're going down with the guys that we want to go down with. That's my gut feeling. And we'll see what reporting emerges over the coming weeks. Hushu, what's going on, Hush? See what Hush's mood is tonight. I know we complain about Obi, but the Hornets still not playing book night, on such a depleted team right now. Talk about malpractice. I'd be livid. I really like him. I mean, he had the offseason stuff, so like, I don't know what to make of that. It is insane that he's out of the rotation on a team that is completely decimated by injuries, and they are whatever they are, a dozen games under 500. That's wild. And yeah, to like you can't blow a draft pick like that. Like, especially if you're a team like the Hornets. And like, Kai Jones had a couple of nice moments tonight, but like they gave up a future first round pick or 2 seconds if it maybe that's it. But like they've hamstrung themselves in terms of picks they could trade to get Kai Jones. How's that working out? Like Mark Williams drafted whatever he was drafted this year. I know he's out right now, but like that dude doesn't seem like he's making a big impact. It's just lots of errors by that organization, which is why for all the people who are like, is LaMelo Ball going to be the next guy to try to maneuver his way? I don't know. I mean, he's going to take the money because everybody takes the money, but we'll see. Thanks, Hush. Greg Moran, what's going on, Greg? Knicks with a dominant third quarter, which goes against everything I've been programmed to expect. It's funny. Grimes is an incredibly positive player. Winning is fun. I love this comment. I endorse everything about this comment. Thank you, Greg. Winning is fun. Let's do some more of it. Keith, what's going on, Keith? I rarely watch live, but watch almost every one of these. Thank you. I appreciate that, Keith. Really it means a lot. I don't have much to say. I just want to show love and say that I'm glad we're playing better. All the love right back to you, man. I love what IQ, Deuce, and Grimes bring on defense. Keep up the good work. Thank you. We appreciate it. Appreciate the contribution. Appreciate the comment. Appreciate the love. It's a team that's so easy to get behind, And the nice thing, I think, is that I think these kids are here to stay. Like Deuce, I think is here to stay. Grimes, I think, is here to stay. I wish I could say Quickly is here to stay. I so badly wish I could say that. Who knows? Things change all the time. So, but it'd be great if this was their identity moving forward. Really would be. Requiem Gaming, what's going on? Always good to hear from you, my man. Hello from the land of enchantment. I'm glad to see the G League Fairy travels to Charlotte when he made that 3, man. Did he make a second 3 tonight? Hold on. I should know this. I should get every Deuce McBride 3-pointer tattooed on my like bicep or something. Yes, he was 2 of 4 from deep tonight. All right. Yes, the G League Fairy does travel to Charlotte. Buckle up for the 4-5 first-round matchup against the Nets. FKD and Kyrie. I'm not getting ahead of myself just yet. I can't do it. The East is still, Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, just untouchable. Toronto's going to do something. They're going to be fine. Philly, despite I'm watching them attempt. I can't believe. Is this really happening? Yeah, this is apparently really happening. Philly is attempting to blow an unconscionable game against as they showed Doc Rivers on the sidelines, against the Lakers. Philly's going to be. How could Philly not be there? I mean, they're so talented. Philly's going to be there. I refuse to give up on Miami. Brooklyn. Oh, and AD missed the free throw. I refuse to give up on Miami. Brooklyn, we'll see. But I think they'll be in the mix. I really do. I think they're going to be in the mix the rest of the year. as we got overtime in L. It's what a wild game. Okay. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you, man. Hush Zoo with one more. Let's say we keep hovering around 500 till the trade deadline, which I think they will. Maybe a little bit better, but I think they will. What sort of trade do you see the Knicks doing to go for the play-in, play-off spot? Very interesting. I don't want to sour this night because there's a lot of good feelings. They've won 3 in a row, the whole thing. But you asked the question, so I'm going to answer it. I think they're going to trade for a veteran, like not an expiring veteran. Like I've tossed around like Eric Gordon's name in the past. I don't think they're going to do that. Because he's an expiring contract. He's a million years old. But like, and I don't know who it is. Like, I gotta say though, and this name I have brought up in the past, and I'm not backing off of it. Like watching Terry Rozier tonight, just like drain threes and hit like tough shots, and then of course you watch Terry Rozier take awful shot after awful shot, and look at his effective field goal percentage this year. His efficiency this year is atrocious. So like, Scary Terry has been very scary for all the wrong reasons this year. And if you're Charlotte and you're looking at where you are and you're looking at your record and you're looking at your payroll and you're looking at the prospect of like, okay, we bringing back PJ Washington. Like we got to obviously max out LaMelo in a couple of years if we want to keep him. I wonder where you're at with Rozier, and like, is he okay coming off the bench for a team? Because I think if he came to the Knicks, you better believe I think he'd come off the bench. I don't know, man. It's a name I would have my eye on. If I was wondering what this team's going to do. To be very clear, I don't want to trade for Terry Rozier. I'm not a Rozier guy. I've never really been a Rozier guy. He's not a bad player though. He's good. He could do things if he plays within himself. When he's in the right role. Like he's a good player. Something like that. If you ask me today, what but I don't think they're going to compromise their draft. I would be I would be beyond shocked if they traded away one of their own first round picks. Unless it was like a top, I don't know, top 10, top 12 lottery protected 2023 first round pick that immediately converted into like 2 seconds or like one of these protected picks that they own or something like, something like that. That's my answer. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to like that answer, but if you put a gun to my head, that's what I would say. Thanks, Hush. Stevens Guillame, what's going on, Stevens? Back at 500, playing the kids works. Yes, it does. Good game from RJ. It sucks that Cam has to be sacrificed, but hey, we move. Yeah, I mean, like, and the thing I do want to, I hope is clear is like, this shit does happen sometimes, not just with the Knicks. This stuff does happen with other franchises where you see a franchise that is trying to do too much and they're trying to accommodate everybody. And then they make a decision and it usually involves somebody that would seem to deserve playing time, no longer getting playing time or being traded or something. And then it's funny how then they sometimes take off. And like, I'm not going to make it's not a fair comparison because like you could say the Warriors kind of did this last year when they, went away from playing the kids, or I guess, no, that was 2 years ago, right? When they made their run at the end of the season, or I guess a little bit last year too. That was a title contender. So it's like very different if the ceiling, and if you want to sit here and be like, well, the Knicks aren't the fucking Warriors, they're not winning shit this year. They should be playing every kid. And as great as this is, they should still be playing Cam. If that's your feeling, I can't sit here and say that you're wrong, but like, again, they're all in right now. You could tell that they're all in. And Cam, I think, played the good soldier. I think he did what he was told. and he was told, like, look, we need you to be a 3-and-D guy. Come in, play your ass off on defense, play within yourself on offense. I think he did that. But I think he did that as a means to an end. And I think there were moments where we realized that. And I think that came to a head in the Dallas game. And I don't want to drag him anymore for the Dallas game. I went, Fred talked about it on the pod a lot today. Yeah, it's really all I got there. Thanks, Stevens. Kevin Danishevsky with one more. Man, Deuce, I still got to see consistency in the shot. Yes. And this may be crazy, but I wonder if we look back and the turning point is putting him in the rotation. It sure as hell seems like that's going to be a turning point. Like, what does that do to a team? When you know that guy is going to come in there, like somebody, I apologize. Somebody mentioned it on Twitter, and I'm stealing this. To be very clear, I'm stealing this. It's not my thought. This is not an original thought. I'm forgetting who it was. I think it was about Randall. I think about like Randall playing harder on defense, and somebody mentioned like, is that the effect of like seeing guys like Deuce and Grimes and IQ go in there and like lay it all on the line? Like, does that actually inspire the guys around them? And like, that's not. I don't think that's crazy at all. Not crazy one bit. So yeah, Kev, I don't think you're off base. I could see it. Needs to make shots. Oh my God. Berman. Oh, Berman, what are you doing? Berman just tweeted, how did the Knicks do without the great Obi Toppin? Unnecessary. What did Obi Toppin ever do to you, Mark? Sean Ford, what's going on, Sean? Grimes and Deuce definitely help get us back our defensive identity. Randall loves it, but Brunson struggling with the return to grinding. We hear ball. Yeah, they like. Look, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it tonight because Randall really did have it going, and Brunson didn't have it going. So I could see Randall being like, all right, I got to put the team a little bit more on my back tonight. And like, look, the guy had 32 points on 22 shots. The guy had a good game, even if he did go in his bag a little bit too much. And again, Brunson was off. But like, I'm not worried about that, oddly enough. I'm not. Maybe famous last words, but I'm not worried about that right now. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate the comment, contribution. CT Pittman. Hello, CT. Thank you for coming to my defense on Twitter. They look like they are having fun. Defense has been the catalyst. I could dig it. I don't know if they're ever really having fun under Tibbs. That's the thing about Tibbs, right? He's such a miserable fuck. I don't know. Can you have fun playing under Coach Thibodeau? I guess to the extent that you can. They've overcome a lot. Seems like they've overcome a lot. And again, I think what I harped on after the Mavs game was that I thought what we were seeing was a lot of the collateral damage from the summer. They seem to be playing like a team that is not worried right now about who's getting moved or who's going to be in the rotation, out of the rotation. Because I think that, like, again, that's the nice thing about with a guy like Deuce, a guy like Grimes. And quickly give him credit. If he is in trade rumors, like, you can't really tell. He's still bringing it. So maybe that's how they got over it, is they just have a rotation full of guys who they are able to look at all of them and be like, you're here. You guys are going to be here. We value you. Let's go. Let's get after it. Seems to be working. Chris Carter. I like the bromance between RJ and iHeart. Tell your boy Tibbs to chill with the timeouts. The Knicks were never losing this game. Let Deuce cook and Brunson rest. Oh, man. If only Tibbs would ever... I think he knows KFS exists. I don't know about me personally, but yeah, I don't think he gives a shit what any of us have to say. And I love him for that. And I always will. Unapologetically. Thanks, Chris. But yeah, the bromance between RJ and iHeart's good. Keith with one more. We already saw this one. Thank you again, Keith. And I again hope RJ keeps this up. Jeremy Chase, CLT, Let's Fly, Buzz City. Is there a worse combination in uniform court in NBA history than the Hornets? Embarrassing stuff. Go Knicks. I'm not gonna comment on the CLT uniform. It's right there for you. It's right there. That's Charlotte's business. In terms of the Let's Fly in Buzz City, I did not care for the court. I asked my wife, who was watching the game with me tonight, I was like, what do you think of the court? She's like, it's very bright. I need sunglasses. Which, probably not a ringing endorsement. Thank you, Jeremy. Tyler Michaels. What's going on, Tyler? Andrew's texting me that Tibbs knows nothing exists. Not KFS, not anything. The 2020-21 ethos are back, John. With the Titan rotation, everyone plays hard, and they have an underdog, disrespected vibe. Most complete game of the season. I don't know about the most complete game of the season. I will say it was nice that they won yet another game in which what was their final total from three? They can't imagine they shot very well from three tonight. All right, they got it up there towards the end. They ended up 13 of 34 from three for 38%. So I stand corrected. They did shoot pretty well from three. But for most of this game, they were not shooting it good from three, and they maintained the lead, and that's good. And there was a sense that you didn't feel like they were going to lose the lead. They never let Charlotte get comfortable. But again, that's also because the Hornets are bad. So I'm trying to pump the brakes here. I want to see how they look on Sunday. I really want. I'm genuinely excited for Sunday. I'll say that. I'm genuinely excited for Sunday. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate the contribution, the comment. Nicholas saying, "What's going on, Nicholas? Do you think the Knicks already have a deal in place for Cam or Rose or Rose? Maybe involving someone who can't be traded until December 15th." It's not nuts. It's not nuts. It's December 10th right now. What is it? December 9th, December 10th? I don't know. I should probably know what the hell the date is. It's December 9th. So we're 6 days away. I mean, I don't know that, to be very clear. Yeah, sure, it's possible. I think more likely with Cam than Rose. Or at the very least, because I don't think Rose... I don't think Rose is getting minutes tonight anyway. I think they made the decision to take Rose out of the rotation. And that is the correct decision. The Cam thing, I could see. We'll see. Maybe. Good question, man. Good question, Nicholas. Wombler, are there 5 guys in the league you'd pick over Grimes to defend the ball? Man, he's good. Where do you have his ceiling? I think there are probably more than 5 just because I think there are bigger players and, size, to quote the terrible Godzilla movie that came out like 20 some odd years ago, size does matter. Like Marcus Smart, Mikal Bridges, Drew Holiday, just 3 names, coming into my mind. I'm sure there are other, like Matisse Thybulle. Matisse Thybulle's a guy that is not playing minutes right now because he's not a good offensive player, but that dude's a beast on the ball. I'm sure there are other guys that I'm forgetting that people are killing me for in the chat for forgetting, but there are a lot of guys. Is Grimes in the top 10? Might be on the top 10, and certainly has an argument. I think he's the best on-ball defender on the Knicks. And he's probably a better on-ball defender than exists on a lot of teams. It's a good question. I like that. I'm going to think about that one some more, Wambler. Thanks for that. Busy. This is fool's gold, John. You're way too optimistic. Maybe. Like I said, this Hornets team is not good. They've been feisty, but they're not good. Cavs couldn't hit a shot. Hawks are in a bad place right now. But in fairness, I keep saying I want to see even in Sacramento. I want to see what they do when they come out on Sunday night against Sacramento. Full stop, a good Kings team. That Kings team this year has the 7th best net rating in basketball. They're actually tied with the Mavs for 6th. They're both 3.1. That is a good Kings team. Okay. Now, granted, the Knicks just beat the team with the 3rd best net rating in the sport, Cleveland. But again, it was an off night for them. I want to see how they do against the Kings. I want to see that. Thanks, Busy. Anthony Sixto with one more. We got a clear rotation. If we move Cam, Fournier, and Rose, what is the best case scenario? Return value in a pick or a player, or salary value? So I think in Fournier, you're dealing with a negative contract, and good job by Philly. They came back after unconscionably letting the lead dissipate and get to overtime, and destroy the Lakers in the overtime period. Tough break for the Lakers. Anthony Davis missed a free throw that would have won it at the end. Anyway, interesting. Talk about possible Cam trades, man. Lakers have now lost 3 in a row. Just keep an eye out. So Fournier, negative contract. Rose, like, he's a $14 million expiring deal. Maybe he could still play. Maybe he's still working himself back into shape. Maybe he gives the team something down the stretch. I don't know. And then Cam, like, I thought it was, interesting that, like, Chris Vernon, who I don't really, I'm not gonna say anything. Chris Vernon went on Zach Lowe's pod today and was like, basically was like, the Knicks are, kind of a dumpster fire. He didn't say that, but it was pretty strongly implied, because he was like, did you see the Solomon Hill tweets about Cam Reddish and about how, guys need good situations, and implying very strongly the Knicks are not a good situation. And he's like, maybe the Grizzlies should get in on him. And Zach, of course, pointed out, like, he's not all the way out on Cam Reddish, because he was never in on Cam Reddish, which I thought was interesting. And then Vernon, who brought up the idea to begin with, when Zach was like, well, what are you going to give up for him? He's like, I don't want to give up anything for him. He's like, I wouldn't give up much for him. Like, I don't know. Like, Cam's not getting you first. He's not getting you protected first. So if Cam is like a slightly positive asset, and let's say Rose is like maybe a neutral asset, maybe a slightly negative asset, and Fournier is like a negative asset, but like in the right deal, a team could probably talk themselves. So, like, if you traded all 3 together, what would you get? I mean, first of all, it's a lot of money. Jesus. I actually don't know. I don't think it's enough for let's just say, for argument's sake, it's enough to bring Westbrook back, right? So we'll use that example. Would the Lakers do that straight up for Russell Westbrook? Rose, Fournier, and Cam for Russell Westbrook? Yes, right? The answer is yes. Would they give away an unprotected first? No. The answer is no. Would they give away a protected first in 2027? Yes. What are the protections? And that's what that conversation will probably come down to, if I had to guess. I hope that answers your question. James Lee. What's going on, James? Thanks for the contribution. I'm glad Julius Randle and RJ are playing well. He's saying James, is the biggest RJ hater. But I don't want to bet that this will be consistent long-term. Who cares? I'm not the Knicks GM. Well, they have to worry about it. And that's why, the same biggest question for this franchise that existed for me this summer is the same biggest question that exists for me now, is like, what are they going to do with Randle? What do they want for Randle? Is there a deal out there for Randle that they want to try to get? Are they holding out hope for a big return? And then the RJ thing, I mean, I'm not as concerned with right now, because They're just not going to trade RJ unless they're getting a star back. They're just not going to do that. So, and it's a tough trade to make with the poison pill thing. But I think we know that. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Zach, what's going on, my buddy? Zach Horowitz. Let's all come together and come up with a term for a Knicks fan that isn't stoked about this team currently. Legit, consistent defense, good modern offensive sets, and serious energy and joy. Hashtag sadwagon? Question mark. I can't. Here's the thing. I can't give anybody too much shit, Zach. I love you. I can't give anybody too much shit because, again, we still don't have proof of concept for this organization, for this front office. And I'm not sure that they should be trusted completely. And I love what Benji always says when he analyzes this team and he tries to assess this team and what's going on. He tries to take the macro out of it and just focus on the micro. And right now, the micro is very good. It's really enjoyable, and there's a lot of good stuff going on. The macro, maybe not as much. So I think there are some people who can't divorce the macro from the micro, and that's fine. I kind of need to be able to do this. So, but that's me. Thank you for the contribution and the comment. Always good to hear from you, man. Ed Paula, no flowers for Mitchell Robinson. He has spoiled us. Good job by Mitch. I can't believe it. I've been talking for an hour and 7 minutes. Haven't talked about Mitch once. That's a bad job by me. He had a very nice game, but you know what? He should dominate against his team and teams like this. And maybe I'm being unfair, and maybe I've been a little bit perturbed by one too many games this year or over the last 4 years where I just don't feel like Mitch brings it on a consistent enough basis. But the dude had 7 offensive rebounds tonight, 13 rebounds overall, only had 6 points. I still think that there's something still a little off there with him around the basket, trying to get these putbacks. And I don't know what it is. Physically, he seems fine. But I don't know. He's just because it feels like a lot of these last year, especially and in years past, would have been like put back dunks. And now we're seeing a lot of tips and this, that, and the other thing. But Mitch was a beast tonight. Mitch was an absolute freaking beast tonight. Thank you for the comment. Good job by you. Bad job by me. Stevens Guillaume with one more. So, if Cam Rose and Fournier are done here, what would be a fair return for the Knicks? Well, I just talked about the fake Lakers trade. Andrew, you could chime in. Would love your opinion as well. I believe Andrew was off tonight. And Justin is still producing, unless Andrew has entered the chat. But no, Andrew's off tonight. I'll get his opinion on Sunday about this. I think there's different returns for all three. But at this point, I would not be surprised if they tried to package Cam with Rose or with Fournier for something. Because if you're not getting a first round pick for Cam, and you're not getting a first round pick for Cam, not a protected pick, not any first round pick, you're not going to get that. If that's the case, are you trading Cam for a second? Would the Knicks do that? I don't see him doing that. I don't see it. So I do think Cam is going to go out with something else. Look, it's a creative front office. Maybe they send him out one of the protected picks and they try to get a better protected pick or something. I don't know. Nothing would shock me. Thanks, Stevens. Zach with one more. Also, Tibbs' first draft as a coach. Grimes and Deuce. Well, he was here for Obi and quickly. He was high. They hired him, right? By that point, I'm pretty sure they hired him by that point. So, not his. That was on him too, but I think that was very much a front office draft. Fred said it on today's pod. Tibbs was the biggest voice in the room to get Grimes. Tibbs wanted Grimes. And Tibbs did not want Grimes to go out in the Reddish deal last year, and Tibbs did not want Grimes to go out in the Donovan Mitchell deal. Those two things, all those things you could take to the bank. And I think Tibbs likes Deuce for sure. I think I reported it at the time, or at least I heard at the time, or somebody reported at the time. I don't know. But Tibbs was definitely in favor of the Deuce pick as well. So good job by Tibbs. Thank you again, Zach. Will Oliver. Friday night Knicks win. Feels like it's been a while. Has it been a while? So they didn't play last Friday night, right? They didn't play last Friday night. The Friday night before that they played was against Portland. They lost. Friday before that at Golden State, loss. The Friday night before that was the Detroit game where I was at a wedding in Lake George. Shout out to Lake George. They won that game. And then, so it's been since then. It's been a month. It's been 4 weeks. Good to get back on the Friday night Knicks track. Shout out Robert Randolph, the family band. Family band? Is that what it is? Anthony Strano. That Marcus Smart comp is looking pretty good for Deuce. Loving his game right now. Smaller Smart, but sure. Also, I'm just remembering I didn't answer the question before. Somebody asked me for a Grimes comp. It's interesting. One of the beat guys had this the other day, yesterday, today, something, where Grimes talked about the players that he like watches or like tries to like aspire to or whatever. And I think he mentioned, I want to say it was like Beal, Booker, and like another guy of that ilk, which I thought, that's interesting. Those guys are like, all of those guys are like almost combo guards at this point, which is what he was coming out of high school. He was a combo guard. So, we haven't seen that level of creation from Grimes. I'm more like, I mean, man, if he could be some version of Klay Thompson, who again I think is one of the 75 greatest players ever. So like, I'm not putting that on Quentin Grimes, but like, I think his ceiling is really high, and I think Deuce's ceiling is pretty high too. He just has to learn how to shoot consistently. Although the shot looked pretty good tonight. Robert Cross with another one. First time, long time. I don't care what we get for IQ. I will still be aggravated. No trading IQ. Hashtag 53 wins. Hashtag 53 wins is alive and well. Talk about things that are looking good right about now. They only have to go, 40 and do some quick math. This is embarrassing. 40 and 6? Is that right? No, that can't be. 40 and 16? 56. Yeah, 40 and 16. Let's go with 40 and 16. Or is that not right? No, I think it was 40 and 6. My God. It's been a long week. Hush Zoo, do you think the Knicks could go for Kuzma? I think the Knicks will absolutely put in a call in for Kuzma. No, I was right. 40 and 16. I'm not crazy. Or 40 and 15. I am crazy. Yes, I think the Knicks will put in a call for Kuzma. I don't know if they're going to get anywhere, but like, if Washington knows that like Kuzma like wants the max or something, I don't know. I thought the wording of the Athletic article that dropped with like the interview with Kuzma from Shams the other day, I thought the wording of some of the like the phrasing about like teams have been calling about Kuzma. Oh, but Washington is not like he's untouchable, but we're also, I feel like there's murmurs that maybe Kuzma could be available. I think the Knicks will be in on Kuzma for sure. There's your Randall trade, by the way. Thank you for the contribution. We here never happens with 30 and Rose. Without 30 and Rose. Rose is by far the best in the playoffs, yes. And with any help, we could have beaten Atlanta. Yes, I agree. Wasn't given a fair chance this year, 12 minutes per game. I mean, look, I love Derrick Rose. You're not going to find a bigger Derrick Rose fan than me. I came all the way back around on Derrick Rose after I found his first run with the organization offensive at times, to be honest. Best player. I thought he was the best player on the team once he got here 2 years ago. And I thought he was one of the best players, if not the best player on the team when he was healthy last season. He was that good. His efficiency absolutely plummeted this year. The numbers are what the numbers are. They just are. He was short on everything. Now, again, shout out Fred Katz. Fred Katz talked about this with Andrew when he was on the pod that I was in the woods for a month or so ago. And that's the type of thing where it takes you a while to play yourself back into shape. I agree if your point is like, if you had kept playing Rose another 10, 20, 30 games, would he have eventually gotten his legs back under him more and those shots that were short start going in and the whole thing? And you want to say like the organization was put between a rock and a hard place because they got an owner that didn't like seeing the blowouts and like wanted to see wins and the whole thing. And that's why Derrick Rose got the short end of the stick. I think all of that is fair. It does not change the fact that like Derrick Rose has no business playing basketball for a team that is in the position the Knicks are in and that has a guy like Deuce McBride on the bench. And that is unfortunate and unfair. It is the reality. The reality also, sad to say, is that Derrick Rose is not a good defensive player at this point in his career. He was hurting. I know his defensive rating numbers, on-court defensive rating numbers were good. I'm not giving him that credit. I'm sorry. I'm just not. He was not a plus defender this year, and they could not wait any longer. Unfortunate, unfair, all the things, but like I can't sit here and cry about Derrick Rose not being in the rotation. Thanks him. That sounds weird. Hayden Freed, has RJ have his deflections gone up since the Tom Piccolo pod? Yes. It seems like it, right? Seems like it. I would need to go check the stats. I'll look at those afterwards. But good comment there. Thank you, Hayden. He seems more active. Some not so great moments on defense, but more active. Andrew Claudio got out of the movies just in time to see the kid we always believed in, Miles McBride, splash a 3. Looking forward to those IQ, Deuce, Hart, Grimes, and you know who lineups. #soon, smiley face. Yes, Andrew Claudio is, of course, referring to the great Nick, who has been out of the league for a little while now, but he still deserves to be playing. And that, of course, is J.R. Smith. No, I'm kidding. Look, I don't think we're getting Melo. Not right now. Especially since they don't have a roster spot. And like, I don't think they want to like get rid of Svi. I don't think they want to get rid of Ryan Arcidiacono. Like, I don't think they want to get rid of I mean, who's the next guy to get rid of? You know, maybe if they do a consolidation trade, that's interesting to me. So there's your December 15th, right? They pull off, you know, I don't know. Cam and Rose, or Cam and Fournier for a second round pick or something. I don't know. And they open up for like a bad expiring contract, and they open up a roster spot for Melo. It's not nuts. What movie did you see tonight? Text me. I'm curious what movie you saw. Thank you, Andrew. Kevin Danishevsky, if we make a trade to improve the offense, can't make the Evan Fournier mistake and bring in a player who doesn't fit on defense. Rotation changes, for instance. Franchise ID coach matters. I don't think they're going to bring in a player who will compromise what they're doing, which makes it interesting, by the way. So, Deuce, clearly your backup point guard, right? At this point, Deuce McBride. Don't think Deuce is going anywhere. Okay. If Grimes isn't going anywhere, if Quickly goes out, which I hope he doesn't, then it gives you a little bit of leeway. You could bring in another guard. Not a point guard, though, right? You got to bring in a guard with a little bit of size to make up for losing Quickly, who plays bigger than he is. Interesting. Thinking about it now. But, like, you could bring in a good defensive backcourt player. I just don't like, I don't know who that is. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate it. And I believe that is all she wrote. Let's do another reminder. Justin, if you want to pop in here and say hi after I remind everybody of our good friends at WynnBet, download the WynnBet app or visit www.wynnbet.com to start winning. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100, win $100. It's that simple. Just keep betting the Knicks. They keep winning. They keep covering. Download, bet, win. I know what I wanted to do. Wait, can I just go real quick before we get out of here? I wanted to go look and see what, speaking of our friends at WynnBet, how the betting and sweating picks did tonight, which I am in the process of pulling up right now. Here we go. Okay. So somebody took the Knicks -2, 2.2 -2. Good job by them. First quarter point spread, Knicks by 1. I think that was Sean. Yeah, Mensa took the Knicks to cover. Good job. Knicks by 1 in the first quarter. Good job, Sean. XJ, over 11.5. Emmanuel Quickly total points. It's a bad beat. 11. He scored 11. That's okay, XJ. And then Andrew, points, assists, rebounds for Quickly, plus over 20. And Quickly ended up with 11 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds. 17. So a couple of bad beats with Quickly. That's okay. Not the end of the world. We got one last super chat here. And again, shout out to our friends at WynnBet. Go bet and win with WynnBet.com. Hush Zoo, I'm sorry, Andrew, but I really don't want Melo. Evan is bad at defense, and Cam takes bad shots. LOL. Melo is that combo, but sign a one-day contract to retire. I'll save my thoughts for when Andrew's here, but I will just say that whereas at one time, certainly in my Knicks fandom, the idea of bringing back Carmelo Anthony to this team, I would have made me cringe. I'm at least willing to go through the thought process, specifically because of the Toppin injury. And even then, it's dicey because it's like, all right, well, what happens when Obi comes back? Because Obi's going to come back, you know? So, like, you know, what if Melo comes in and he, like, the Knicks keep winning and he plays well and he's hitting shots? Like, what does that do for Top? Like, it's probably just like an uncomfortable situation that the Knicks don't need. So it probably is not the right move, but, you know, we'll see what happens. Thanks, Hush. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody who commented in the chat. Thank you to everybody for the super chat comments. Thank you, of course, Justin, for the great production. And yeah, don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Still trying to get up to 11,000 subscribers. So if you're watching, you're digging it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Knicks Film School YouTube. And follow us on social at Knicks Film School with SKOOL. We will be back with pregame ahead of the Kings game on Sunday. I'll be here after the Kings game. And then Jeremy and I have our usual pod that we're recording on Monday. That'll be dropping your way, yes, Monday into Tuesday. And then we got a special Jeremy live stream coming up on Tuesday. So lots of good stuff coming up to look forward to. As always, appreciate all of you, and we will talk to you soon. Peace out.